Cultivating Self-Love, written and published by Sonic Tome. You feel it, don't you? That unspoken pull at the edges of your mind, a subtle, persistent yearning that's been there all along, whispering for you to take notice, to pause and reflect. It's the uncharted landscape of your heart, vast and mysterious, holding both treasure and truth. It's easy to drown out the quiet voice that calls for deeper understanding. Life has a way of demanding noise, distraction, and the relentless pursuit of external measures of worth. But what if, just for a moment, you chose to listen? What if you could step into that space, that realm within, where every doubt melts into clarity and every step forward becomes an act of pure connection to who you truly are? Daring to explore this territory means facing more than the discomfort of change. It means stepping beyond the stories and roles you've been playing, discarding them one by one, and embracing the raw, unfiltered version of yourself that has always been waiting. This isn't about finding yourself in the way you'd seek a lost item or itemizing traits that fit a mold. This is about building a life from the ground up, led by the whispers of a heart that's tired of compromise and ready to claim its rightful voice. You've been dancing with doubt for so long that it's become second nature, a companion lurking in the background of every important decision, holding you back from living out loud. But what if letting go of that old fear was the first step in setting the stage for your greatest breakthrough? What if seeing yourself through a lens of compassion wasn't a luxury, but the foundation upon which all meaningful connections are built? The heart's open path is not a road marked by certainty, but by the willingness to tread it with eyes wide open, heart steady, and a sense of purpose that defies the noise of the world. Every small victory, each honest moment is an invitation to step forward, not as a shadow of what others expect, but as the vibrant, dynamic, and wholly authentic version of yourself that you were meant to be. This journey isn't about waiting for the perfect moment. It's about choosing the path even when the outcome isn't clear. It's about being willing to hear the true story that your heart longs to tell, and moving toward it with the unwavering courage that only comes from deep self-belief. The art of walking this path isn't in knowing where you're headed, but in finding the rhythm in each step, the quiet joy in the small wins, and the serene confidence that comes from knowing you are on the right path, your path, one that resonates with your very essence. Chapter 1. The Seed of Self-Acceptance. Taking inspiration from some famous and influential books on the topics related to the subject here, expand this section. Don't repeat the same thing over. Don't mention any reference or any inspiration note. Just take inspiration and expand in your own words and ways different from the original inspiration. Don't give definitions of simple terms, as it makes the book less valuable. Take inspiration from the teachings of great persons to add in the expansion, but do not mention any inspiration. Don't add any summary or conclusion at the end of the section or chapter, whichever you are expanding. Explain the concept fully without any repetition of similar terms. Explain the topic in a unique way, sounding like a human interaction. Don't sound as AI-generated. The journey of self-acceptance begins with a willingness to look inward, not with judgment, but with curiosity and understanding. It is about recognizing the intricate layers that make up who you are, your strengths, imperfections, aspirations, and fears, and holding space for all of them without dismissal or denial. Imagine the inner self as a seed, carrying the potential of a vibrant, unique existence, waiting to be nurtured. This seed doesn't need perfection to grow. It only needs the right conditions, beginning with acceptance of what it is in its current state. This foundation isn't about fixing or changing who you are. Instead, it's about recognizing that your worth isn't contingent upon external validation, achievements, or the opinions of others. It lies in the inherent value of being you. When you remove the layers of self-criticism and societal expectations, you find that the core of self-acceptance is simplicity itself, an honest acknowledgement of your truth. Often, the barriers to self-acceptance are the voices we internalize, echoes of past criticisms, societal norms, or the constant comparison to others. These voices act like weeds around the seed, threatening to overshadow its growth. Identifying and gently quieting these voices is not an overnight process, but with consistent effort, their grip loosens. This isn't done through force, but through persistent reminders of your worth, affirmations of your unique existence, and acts of kindness toward yourself. To embrace oneself fully, it's crucial to shift the narrative you hold about yourself. Instead of viewing imperfections as flaws to be fixed, they can be seen as part of the tapestry that makes you human. Every scar, every mistake, every stumble contributes to your story. The more you integrate these experiences without shame, the more you create a fertile ground for growth. Creating an environment of self-acceptance also involves learning to sit with discomfort. The moments when doubt creeps in, or when feelings of inadequacy surface, are not to be feared or avoided. These are the moments where self-acceptance is tested and deepened. By allowing yourself to feel these emotions without letting them define you, you cultivate resilience and authenticity. The seed of self-acceptance thrives in the light of understanding and the warmth of compassion. It requires nurturing through the actions you take daily, choosing self-respect over self-criticism, practicing gratitude for your unique qualities, and fostering an unwavering belief in your potential. Over time, this seed grows into a steady presence within you, offering a firm foundation for the journey ahead. Chapter 2. The Silent Gardener Within. Taking inspiration from some famous and influential books on the topics related to the subject here, expand this section. Don't repeat the same thing over. Don't mention any reference or any inspiration note. Just take inspiration and expand in your own words and ways different from the original inspiration. Don't give definitions of simple terms, as it makes the book less valuable. Take inspiration from the teachings of great persons to add in the expansion, but do not mention any inspiration. Don't add any summary or conclusion at the end of the section or chapter, whichever you are expanding. Explain the concept fully without any repetition of similar terms. Explain the topic in a unique way, sounding like a human interaction. Don't sound as AI generated. Beneath the noise of the outer world lies the silent gardener within each of us. This is the part of you that observes without judgment, listens without interference, and tends to the garden of your inner self with patience and care. Like a gardener who trusts the seasons, this aspect of you knows that growth doesn't happen all at once. It embraces the process, trusting that the seeds planted in reflection will bloom when the time is right. Inner reflection isn't about solving every problem immediately. It's about creating space to simply be. In that space, you begin to notice the subtle changes within yourself. Like a gardener kneeling in the soil, you inspect the roots of your thoughts, the health of your beliefs, and the weight of your emotions. You weed out what doesn't serve you, not in haste but with gentle acknowledgement. Quiet growth doesn't demand recognition. The gardener within works in silence, finding joy in the unnoticed progress. Perhaps it's learning to pause before reacting or choosing compassion where frustration once ruled. These shifts may seem small, but over time they create a transformation as profound as any external achievement. The silent gardener isn't concerned with immediate results. It's focused on consistency, watering the soil of self-love daily with acts of kindness and patience. Nurturing yourself doesn't always require grand gestures. Sometimes it's the simplest actions that hold the most power, taking a moment to breathe deeply, savoring the sunlight on your face, or allowing yourself to rest without guilt. The silent gardener knows that these small moments of care strengthen the roots of your inner world. There will be storms, times when self-doubt, fear, or uncertainty try to uproot the growth you've nurtured. The silent gardener doesn't resist the storm, but works with it, protecting the fragile parts while knowing the rain will also bring nourishment. Every storm passes, and with each one you grow stronger, more resilient. In the quiet moments of reflection, the silent gardener finds clarity. This clarity isn't about answers, but about alignment, a sense of being grounded in your truth. You learn to discern which thoughts empower you and which drain you, which actions bring joy and which steal your peace. This wisdom guides your growth, ensuring that every step you take is rooted in self-love and authenticity. Through stillness and steady care, The silent gardener within shapes your inner garden into a sanctuary. It becomes a place where you can retreat, recharge, and remember who you are. Here, growth is not rushed, and every bloom, no matter how small, is cherished for its unique beauty. Chapter 3. Storms and Sunshine. Taking inspiration from some famous and influential books on the topics related to the subject here, expand this section. Don't repeat the same thing over. Don't mention any reference or any inspiration note. Just take inspiration and expand in your own words and ways different from the original inspiration. Don't give definitions of simple terms, as it makes the book less valuable. Take inspiration from the teachings of great persons to add in the expansion. But do not mention any inspiration. Don't add any summary or conclusion at the end of the section or chapter, whichever you are expanding. Explain the concept fully without any repetition of similar terms. Explain the topic in a unique way, sounding like a human interaction. Don't sound as AI generated. Life's journey is a blend of storms and sunshine, each with a role in shaping who you are. The storms, fierce and unrelenting, can leave you feeling battered and lost, but they also clear away what no longer serves you. They strip you down to your essence, forcing you to confront the raw, unfiltered truth of your being. In these moments, you learn to stand firm, rooted in your own strength, even as the winds howl around you. The sunshine, warm and inviting, is where growth flourishes. It is in the light that you begin to see the fruits of your resilience. The scars left by the storms become markers of your endurance, each one a testament to your ability to rise. The sunshine doesn't erase the memory of the storm. Instead, it adds depth to your understanding, reminding you that joy and pain are both essential parts of your growth. Storms are not just obstacles, but opportunities. They challenge you to dig deeper, to find the hidden reservoirs of courage and determination within yourself. When the rain lashes against you, it's tempting to seek shelter, to retreat into comfort and familiarity. But often, it is in weathering the storm that you discover your true capacity for transformation. The thunder may be deafening, the clouds overwhelming, but each drop of rain carries with it a lesson, a chance to grow stronger, wiser, more compassionate. Sunshine, on the other hand, allows you to breathe, to stretch, and to bask in the beauty of your progress. It's the reward for enduring the storm, but it's also a reminder to pause and appreciate where you are. In the warmth of the sun, you can reflect on what you've overcome, savoring the sweetness of a hard-earned moment of peace. It's in these moments of light that you find the energy to continue, to face whatever storms lie ahead with renewed hope. Together, the storms and sunshine create a rhythm that defines your growth. Too much sunshine can leave you complacent, while too many storms can feel unbearable. But in balance, they shape you into someone who is both unshakable and tender, someone who can weather adversity without losing sight of the light. Through the highs and lows, you learn to trust the process, knowing that both the storm and the sunshine have their place. The storm prepares the ground, and the sunshine nurtures the seeds. Together, they create a life rich with meaning and depth, a life where every moment, whether dark or bright, contributes to the beauty of your unfolding story. Chapter 4. The Dance of Boundaries. Taking inspiration from some famous and influential books on the topics related to the subject here, expand this section. Don't repeat the same thing over. Don't mention any reference or any inspiration note. Just take inspiration and expand in your own words and ways different from the original inspiration. Don't give definitions of simple terms, as it makes the book less valuable. Take inspiration from the teachings of great persons to add in the expansion, but do not mention any inspiration. Don't add any summary or conclusion at the end of the section or chapter, whichever you are expanding. Explain the concept fully, without any repetition of similar terms. Explain the topic in a unique way, sounding like a human interaction. Don't sound as AI generated. Imagine boundaries not as rigid fences, but as fluid lines that move in harmony with your values and needs. They are not walls meant to shut others out, but pathways that create clarity about where you stand and how you wish to be treated. When you learn to establish these lines, you are crafting a life where self-respect and meaningful connections coexist seamlessly. Boundaries begin with understanding your own worth. It's not about proving yourself to anyone, but about recognizing that your time, energy, and emotions are precious. When you truly value yourself, setting limits becomes a natural extension of that respect. These limits are not barriers to others, but safeguards for your well-being, ensuring that you can give and receive love in a way that nurtures rather than drains you. The dance of boundaries is dynamic, not static. It requires you to be attuned to the rhythms of your relationships and the shifting needs of your heart. Sometimes you might need to step back, creating more distance to protect your peace. At other times you might lean in, allowing others closer because the connection feels safe and nourishing. This constant adjustment is not a sign of weakness, but of wisdom, a reflection of your ability to honor both yourself and the people you care about. There is an art to communicating boundaries. It's not about issuing ultimatums or demanding compliance, but about expressing your needs with clarity and compassion. When you articulate what is important to you, you give others the opportunity to understand and respect your perspective. This kind of communication strengthens relationships, creating a foundation of mutual trust and respect. Boundaries also teach others how to treat you. When you consistently uphold them, you send a clear message about what you will and will not accept. This is not an act of selfishness, but of self-preservation. It is a way of ensuring that your relationships are built on mutual care rather than one-sided sacrifice. At times, enforcing boundaries can feel uncomfortable. You might fear disappointing others or being perceived as unkind. But remember, protecting your energy is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of love, both for yourself and for those around you. When you are clear about your limits, you create space for authenticity in your interactions, allowing others to see and appreciate the real you. Boundaries are not just about saying no. They are also about knowing when to say yes. They help you discern which opportunities, relationships, and experiences align with your values and bring joy into your life. By embracing this balance, you create a life that feels both expansive and grounded, rich with connections that honor who you truly are. This dance of boundaries is a lifelong practice. It evolves as you grow, as your needs shift, and as your understanding of yourself deepens. It is a gentle, ongoing process of learning to respect your own rhythm, while staying open to the rhythms of those around you. Through this dance, you cultivate a life of integrity, connection, and peace, a life where both you and those you cherish can thrive. Chapter 5. The Mirror of Compassion. Taking inspiration from some famous and influential books on the topics related to the subject here, expand this section. Don't repeat the same thing over. Don't mention any reference or any inspiration note. Just take inspiration and expand in your own words and ways different from the original inspiration. Don't give definitions of simple terms, as it makes the book less valuable. Take inspiration from the teachings of great persons to add in the expansion, but do not mention any inspiration. Don't add any summary or conclusion at the end of the section or chapter, whichever you are expanding. Explain the concept fully without any repetition of similar terms. Explain the topic in a unique way, sounding like a human interaction. Don't sound as AI generated. When you stand before a mirror, what do you see? Most people observe their reflections with a critical eye, focusing on imperfections or perceived flaws. This habit of self-judgment becomes second nature, casting shadows over the beauty and strength that reside within. But what if you could hold that same mirror with compassion, seeing yourself as you would a cherished friend? The mirror of compassion invites you to look beyond surface-level judgments and into the depths of your humanity. It asks you to recognize that mistakes and imperfections are not failures, but facets of being human. Each scar, wrinkle, or misstep carries a story of resilience, growth, and the courage to keep going. When you view yourself with kindness, you create space for healing and growth, unburdened by the weight of self-criticism. Imagine speaking to yourself with the same tenderness you would offer to someone you love deeply. The words you choose, the tone of your inner voice, the patience you extend. All of these reflect how you view yourself. This shift in perspective doesn't happen overnight. It is a practice, a commitment to choosing understanding over judgment, gentleness over harshness. Compassion is not about excusing or ignoring your shortcomings. It is about acknowledging them with honesty, while holding them in a framework of love. It is the recognition that growth is a journey, not a destination, and that every step forward, no matter how small, is worthy of celebration. When you offer yourself this grace, you allow your inner light to shine more brightly, unclouded by shame or self-doubt. The way you treat yourself sets the tone for how you interact with others. When you are kind to yourself, it becomes easier to extend that kindness outward. This is not a selfish act, but a ripple effect that enriches your relationships and the world around you. Compassion is a wellspring, and by nurturing it within, you ensure that it flows abundantly into every aspect of your life. Sometimes this practice requires a deliberate pause. In moments of frustration or disappointment, stop and ask yourself how you would respond if a loved one were feeling the same way. Would you offer encouragement, a listening ear, or a reminder of their worth? Then, turn that same energy inward. This act of self-compassion transforms challenges into opportunities for connection, with yourself and with the greater tapestry of human experience. The mirror of compassion reflects not just who you are, but who you are becoming. It shows you the strength in vulnerability, the beauty in authenticity, and the power in acceptance. By choosing to see yourself through this lens, you unlock a deeper understanding of your inherent worth, a truth that no external opinion or circumstance can diminish. Chapter 6. The Symphony of Small Wins. Taking inspiration from some famous and influential books on the topics related to the subject here, expand this section. Don't repeat the same thing over. Don't mention any reference or any inspiration note. Just take inspiration and expand in your own words and ways different from the original inspiration. Don't give definitions of simple terms, as it makes the book less valuable. Take inspiration from the teachings of great persons to add in the expansion, but do not mention any inspiration. Don't add any summary or conclusion at the end of the section or chapter, whichever you are expanding. Explain the concept fully without any repetition of similar terms. Explain the topic in a unique way, sounding like a human interaction. Don't sound as AI generated. Life often feels like a grand orchestra, and each moment, action, or decision contributes to a larger composition. The Symphony of Small Wins teaches us to appreciate the quiet notes, the subtle rhythms, and the gentle crescendos that we might otherwise overlook. These small victories, though modest in scale, create harmony and momentum, guiding you along the path of self-discovery and growth. A small win might look like setting aside time for yourself in the middle of a chaotic day, or standing firm in your boundaries during a challenging conversation. It could be completing a task you've been avoiding, or finding the courage to try something new. These moments, seemingly insignificant in isolation, hold immense power when viewed collectively. Each one reinforces your ability to move forward, even if the progress feels incremental. Recognizing these wins requires a shift in perception. Society often celebrates the monumental, the grand achievements, the big leaps, but true progress is built in the spaces between those milestones. Think of a sculptor chiseling away at a block of stone. It is not one sweeping motion, but a series of careful, deliberate actions that reveal the masterpiece within. Similarly, every small triumph shapes who you are becoming, revealing layers of strength, resilience, and determination. Celebrating these moments is not about self-indulgence, but about acknowledging the effort, intention, and courage it takes to persist. When you take a moment to honor a small victory, you remind yourself that your journey matters, that your steps, no matter how small, are meaningful. It's an act of self-recognition, a quiet nod to your perseverance and dedication. Imagine each small win as a note in a melody. Alone, it might seem unremarkable, but together, these notes create a beautiful and complex symphony, The more you pay attention to these moments, the more you realize their significance. They create a rhythm that sustains you, a cadence that keeps you moving forward even when the path feels uncertain. Small wins also have a compounding effect. Each one builds on the last, creating a sense of momentum and confidence. They remind you that you are capable, that you have what it takes to face challenges and embrace opportunities. Over time, these wins become a source of inner strength, a foundation upon which you can rely when the road ahead feels daunting. The beauty of this symphony lies in its accessibility. You don't need grand gestures or extraordinary circumstances to find small victories. They are woven into the fabric of everyday life, waiting to be noticed and celebrated. The act of recognizing them invites a sense of gratitude and presence, grounding you in the moment and connecting you to the deeper currents of your journey. By tuning into the symphony of small wins, you learn to move through life with greater awareness and appreciation. You begin to see the value in the ordinary, the magic in the mundane. This perspective transforms the way you experience the world and your place within it, opening the door to a deeper sense of fulfillment and self-understanding. Chapter 7. The Art of Letting Go. There comes a time in every journey when you must put down the weight that no longer serves you. These weights are not always tangible. They are often the beliefs, fears, and old narratives that cling to you, silent but heavy. They are the remnants of past experiences, the words of others that settled into your mind, and the self-imposed limits that you accepted as truths. Letting go is not an act of denial. Rather, it is a declaration of freedom, a decision to make space for something new, something more aligned with who you are becoming. Imagine standing at the edge of a great forest, the path ahead obscured by the tangled branches of old trees. Each branch represents a belief or habit that has rooted itself in your life, some from childhood, some from moments when you needed to protect yourself or fit in, and others from the countless times you doubted your worth. Letting go means stepping away from those tangled roots and forging a new path, one where you can breathe freely and move forward unburdened. The process of releasing can be challenging, especially when what you are letting go has been a part of your identity for as long as you can remember. It's natural to fear the unknown, to question whether letting go will leave you with emptiness. But emptiness is not what you find. Instead, you make room for possibility, growth, and a truer sense of self. You allow yourself to reclaim the space that has been monopolized by old patterns and ideas that do not reflect your authentic self. Letting go requires courage, the kind that whispers in your heart, urging you to trust that you are more than the sum of your past experiences. You start to recognize that many of your beliefs were formed out of a desire for protection or acceptance, but they have become a barrier, keeping you from reaching the potential that lies beyond them. They are like the lines of a story written by others, and to step into your own narrative, you need to rewrite them with the ink of your truth. The art of letting go doesn't happen in one sudden act. It's a gradual unfolding. It starts with moments of awareness, recognizing when an old thought pattern shows up, identifying when you are holding yourself back out of fear or familiarity. It is the silent conversations you have with yourself, the moments of choosing kindness over criticism, of releasing judgment when you make mistakes, and of replacing doubt with faith in your ability to navigate whatever comes next. The power of letting go lies in the gentle practice of surrender. It isn't about fighting or forcing yourself to forget, but about choosing to loosen your grip. It's the willingness to say, "This is no longer serving me," and to honor that acknowledgement with action, even if it's just a small shift in your perspective or behavior. When you surrender, you stop resisting the natural flow of life and start to move in rhythm with it, making space for what is meant to come into your life. As you release old beliefs, you might notice that the space within you starts to fill with fresh insights, new perspectives, and a clearer sense of who you are. You become open to possibilities that were once unimaginable, and you start to feel lighter, more present, and more in tune with your essence. The world becomes less a series of obstacles to overcome, and more a canvas to create on. This practice of letting go also invites compassion and patience. There are no quick fixes or instant transformations. Sometimes you'll feel the pull of old habits calling to you, urging you to slip back into familiar ways of thinking or being. But letting go isn't a single event. It's a lifelong process, one that teaches you to be gentle with yourself as you navigate the ebb and flow of growth. Each time you choose to let go, you are honoring the version of yourself that desires freedom, growth, and deeper self-acceptance. It is within this art of releasing that you reclaim your power. You stop being defined by what you were and start becoming who you are meant to be. With every belief you release, you make room for more authentic connections, more sincere self-love, and an unshakable inner peace. The act of letting go isn't just an invitation to leave behind what no longer serves you. It is a celebration of who you are when you are no longer weighed down. Chapter 8. The Heart's Open Path. Walking the path of the heart is not about finding an easy route. It's about choosing the path that resonates with your deepest truths, even when it's not the most comfortable or obvious. This journey is one of courage, of listening to the voice within that knows who you are and who you are meant to be. It's about honoring yourself in ways that may defy the expectations of the world, stepping into a life where choices are made not out of obligation or fear, but from a place of profound self-respect and genuine love. The heart's open path requires you to slow down and become attuned to your inner compass. In a world that constantly demands more, faster, and better, it can be tempting to seek validation outside of yourself, to mold your actions and decisions according to what is praised or rewarded. But walking this path means shifting from external approval to internal alignment. It's understanding that the voice of the heart isn't loud, but it's persistent and truthful. It whispers in moments of quiet, when you pause and reflect, offering insights and guidance that bring you back to who you are at your core. The practice of self-love isn't about grand gestures or self-indulgence. It's in the small, daily acts of kindness toward yourself. It's choosing to acknowledge your achievements, no matter how small, without brushing them off or comparing them to others. It's accepting your imperfections and seeing them as part of your unique brilliance, not as flaws to be fixed or hidden. Walking the path of the heart requires you to be radically honest with yourself, to face the truths you may have ignored or buried beneath layers of fear and self-doubt. This honesty isn't about harsh self-criticism, but about looking into the mirror of your soul and recognizing yourself with empathy and respect. True authenticity is living in a way that aligns your actions with your values. It means speaking up when you need to, even if your voice shakes, and stepping away from situations and people that diminish your light. It means knowing your boundaries and upholding them without guilt. It's an inner knowing that being true to yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. When you make choices that reflect your heart, even if they go against the grain or challenge societal norms, you move closer to living a life of deep fulfillment. There's a certain magic that happens when you start to walk this path. The people and experiences that come into your life start to shift. Connections become more meaningful because they are rooted in real understanding and shared truths, not just surface-level interactions. The path of the heart aligns you with others who are also living authentically, creating a ripple effect that strengthens bonds and fosters true community. You become less concerned with fitting in and more focused on standing in your truth. This is where you find that love for yourself expands and deepens, as you begin to see yourself reflected in the eyes of those who resonate with your essence. However, the heart's open path is not without its challenges. It means facing moments of doubt and vulnerability. It means being brave enough to release the people and situations that no longer nurture your growth, even if they have been a part of your story for a long time. It's understanding that walking your path might mean going it alone for a while, trusting that those who are meant to walk with you will find their way when the time is right. In these moments, the inner voice of the heart becomes an anchor, reminding you that true love starts from within, and only then can it be shared with the world. Self-love on this path isn't about pampering or avoiding discomfort. It's about meeting yourself with unwavering acceptance, especially when life throws challenges your way. It's embracing the lessons in every setback, understanding that growth often comes disguised as difficulty. It's seeing your mistakes not as failures, but as the stones that pave your path, each one an essential part of your journey. In the rhythm of the heart's path, there is a balance between the steady steps forward and moments of reflection. It's knowing when to press on and when to pause, listening to the whispers of your spirit and responding with grace. There is an art to honoring your needs while also showing up for others, allowing for a life that is abundant in love, not just toward others but toward yourself, every bit as fiercely and compassionately. Walking the heart's open path isn't just a choice, it's a way of being. It's choosing to live each day with intention and connection, letting the gentle pull of your true self guide you through the noise and into a space where you can finally stand, breathe, and move as your most authentic self. In this state, life becomes less of a series of tasks to complete and more of an unfolding, full of opportunities to express love, create joy, and live with a fullness that only comes when you are true to yourself. Conclusion. The echoes of your journey settle into the spaces where doubt once lingered. You stand at the edge of all you've become, feeling the weight of what's been shed and the lightness of what's now possible. Each chapter has been more than a lesson. It has been a testament to the quiet resilience you never knew you possessed. And in this moment, as the noise of the outside world softens into the background, you realize that what once felt distant is now within reach. The whispers of your heart, once drowned out by the clamor of expectation and the urgency of striving, are now clear and strong. You've learned that growth isn't a sprint marked by moments of spectacular achievement, but a slow, deliberate unfolding, like a flower revealing its petals to the first light of day. The process has been anything but linear. It's been raw, imperfect, and beautifully real. But you've trusted it. You've found the courage to let go when holding on seemed easier. You've nurtured the quiet moments of reflection that allowed you to see the truth, and you've honored the small victories that remind you of the power in persistence. It's easy to look at the final step and imagine it as the end, a conclusion to a journey that started so long ago. But this is where it shifts. It's where the path turns into a way of life, a continual practice of aligning your inner world with the person you are becoming. The art of self-love and authenticity isn't a destination you reach and forget. It's the dance you keep returning to, the symphony that plays in the background of each new chapter. It's in the choices you make when you have nothing to prove and everything to live for. You are now more than the sum of your parts, more than the echoes of doubt and the old stories that no longer serve you. You are the proof that transformation happens in the smallest moments, in the quiet acts of kindness to yourself and others. This is where you step forward not to arrive, but to keep growing, to keep creating from a space of abundance, love, and trust. The open path that awaits isn't just a new chapter. It's the unending story of who you are when you choose to live fully, authentically, and without apology. And so, as you close this chapter, know that your journey is just beginning. The world outside may never fully understand the depths of your inner landscape, and that's okay. You now know that the greatest reward lies not in what others see, but in the way you see yourself, the unyielding, compassionate, and powerful way you've come to know your own heart. Keep walking. The path stretches out before you, waiting for you to step into it, one fearless, loving, and wholly authentic step at a time. If you find value in our content and want to support what we do, consider joining our channel memberships. Your support helps us create even more engaging and impactful videos. Memberships come with exclusive perks, early access, and members-only content. Become a part of our community and help us continue sharing insights and inspiration.